Hey guys! So today I'm really excited to be talking about this new album from Gabe Lee called Honky Tonk. I reviewed his album Farmland last August, I believe. I reviewed it like a few months after it was released, which is interesting because I do try to review things like the moment they come out to try to be like relevant, but that was an album that I didn't discover until later on, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good, I have to talk about it. So go check out my Farmland review if you haven't already. What I loved about Gabe Lee and Farmland was the beautiful melodies and songwriting and his voice. I think his voice is incredible. It's so passionate and expressive, and you just feel every emotion. The one thing about Farmland though is that it was very acoustic and soft, and it was very one note. Like all of the songs were kind of like the same tempo and kind of had the same set of instruments. It was very simple and acoustic with its instrumentation, and that's cool. It had that like singer-songwriter vibe. This album, Honky Tonk Hell, takes those things we liked in Farmland and adds on all this new stuff. So we still have elements of Farmland. We still have those soft acoustic songs, but we see this whole new side of Gabe Lee. You have these songs that are just really, really high energy and southern rock, and you have a full band in the background and all these new sounds and instruments that are really, really exciting and makes this album really fun to listen to. Like, I definitely enjoyed this more than Farmland because of the variety. I think Gabe Lee's voice sounds really good, both when it's like soft and intimate in acoustic songs, but also when it's really loud and powerful. What I think is really cool about this album is that there's just these drastically different energy levels throughout the album. You have a song pretty much for every mood. I made this graph of the energy level of each song throughout the album as you progress, and it's funny because you get all these wildly different energy levels. The highest energy songs are Honky Tonk Hell, Susannah, and All Dogs Go to Heaven. And then you have these like medium tempo songs that are still sort of upbeat and make you want to dance, but they're not as high energy. So you have Babylon and Great Big River, and then a little bit lower energy is Piece of Your Heart and Heartbreaker Smile. And then finally you get these softer, slower acoustic songs like 30 Seconds at a Time, Emmylou, Imogene, and Blue Ridge Goodbye. And it's really cool to see this whole album come together because there's a song for every mood. Like if I want to have a rock party, I'm gonna listen to Honky Tonk Hell, Susannah, and All Dogs Go to Heaven. If I want to just cry by myself in the rain, then I'll listen to emmylou and Imogene. So there's really a song for everyone, and there's just so much variety. I would say my favorite songs on this album are probably the higher energy songs. I know I said in my Farmland review that I love slow songs, but I think that was like a phase, and I'm now out of that phase, and I'm now in a phase where I love upbeat songs. So my favorite songs that I want to keep on listening to are probably Babylon, Great Big River, and Everything Above. Brief intermission, the sky outside right now is so pretty. Some of the themes in this album, and I'll touch on them more as we get into the songs, are escapism. That's something I noticed in Farmland that continues in this album and kind of is this common thread that ties all of the songs together. Also love and heartbreak. There's a lot of songs about like women and love and stuff, but other than that, a general theme I see is leaving and rambling and escaping and being out on the road. You know, he's getting out of Babylon and hiding in Imogene. It's this restlessness and this pursuit of a better life somewhere out there on the road. I think this album is quite excellent. I am so happy about it. I've already recommended it to people, and let's just dive into each song. So the first song is called Honky Tonk Hell, the title track, and it is such a great start to this album. It just launches us right in to this wild raucous party. You saw my graph, right? It's of the higher energy level. What's cool is that he wrote this with Marcus King. I actually did a video on Marcus King, specifically a song off his new album called Too Much Whiskey. And I do think this song has a similar vibe to that. This narrator, man, this narrator has done some stuff and seen some shit. I think this song is almost poking fun at Nashville pop music and that whole machine that just churns out generic country songs that get played on the radio. One of the most interesting discussions to me is the push and pull between commercialization of music and how it gets watered down to appeal to the masses, and how that comes into conflict with like actually good quality music. I was down on Broadway in Nashville back in June. I was actually there for a real estate technology conference. I was staying next to Broadway, and I remember I had a free day and I just wandered down Broadway by myself through all these bars. I ended up on a rooftop and I was hearing all of these country music sounds coming from all directions, because there's so many bars and restaurants and they're all playing live music. And to me, Nashville is like heaven, because I freaking love country music, and every single place, every single corner is playing music that I love, which I don't really get here in the Bay Area. But at the same time, I remember being on that rooftop and hearing all of these different sounds mashed up together, and it sounded horrible. I was like, is this heaven or is it hell? And this is something I literally wrote. I was like kind of journaling on my phone. The cacophony of sounds, individually pleasant, blends into a nightmare. Unsteady rhythms, clashing melodies, it's infinite and never ending. So that's something I wrote, and I would definitely call Broadway a honky tonk hell. What a lovely song. It is in waltz time, and I think the most interesting part of this song that really caught me off guard is how it switches tempo between the verses and the chorus. It literally slows down in the chorus and then speeds back up when it gets to the verses, and I think that's really interesting. I think the chorus has the coolest imagery. All the choruses are different. In the first one, you get worn shoes, flat tires, steel pants, and big dreams. In the second chorus, you get wet trash, coal fire, lactose, migraine. I think the images are just really cool, and it really leaves you to wonder what this is even about. You get a sense that someone is on the road and trying to figure out life and just rambling. I think the ultimate message at the end of the chorus is, go talk to the man who buys broken down things and sell him a piece of your heart. So ultimately, I think it's about having a broken heart. I love this song. I think Babylon and Great Big River might be my favorite songs, because I'm really into that like spiritual gospel vibe right now. I find the song to be so happy and fresh and upbeat and hopeful and uplifting. It probably isn't actually that happy. It sounds happy, but it's about giving up and just getting the fuck out of here. Babylon is a biblical place. I don't know if it's a metaphor or a real place here. There is a lot of biblical imagery in this song. You get trials and tribulations, floods and fires, and angels and demons. And then you get to the end of the song, and you have that choir come in the back where he says, if you want to find me, and the choir's like, if you want to find me. So you get some gospel churchy vibes, which I really love. And ultimately, this is another song about leaving and escapism. Thinking this song should be called Shine On, because that's how the chorus starts, but that's okay. This song is really, really beautiful, and it's about a girl named Jamie. All we know about Jamie is that she has a heartbreaker smile, and she ditched the band and ran away, and the narrator is chasing after her. I get a sense she's just running around on the road, and he's following her. through New Orleans and San Antonio, and ultimately they meet on the side of the road, and he's telling her, shine on, you can go wherever you like, whenever you want. And the message is one of limitless freedom and just escapism once again, running away from everything and starting over. I freaking love this song. Once again, it's got that spiritual, gospel-y vibe, I guess. It's so soulful and hopeful and uplifting. Should I say it has a great big sound? You got that full orchestra with all of the instruments. The piano sounds amazing, and you have the brass and the percussion, and a chorus that you just have to sing along to. I could see this being sung at a church. It's this crying out to the Ohio River. Ohio River, won't you take me home and wash away all of my blues? It's once again this theme of escapism and running away from all of life's sorrows into a better place and hoping for a better life. And that's just something that is so universal and beautiful.
There's a spot out by the train.
This song kind of reminds me of If Today Doesn't Do Me In by Ian No, which is on my top 10 country songs of 2019, where it really focuses in on specific characters that you normally might not pay attention to in the world. They're kind of just the forgotten people in society, and each verse kind of dives into their story. So in the first verse, we are introduced to the local boys and girls who are getting stoned by the train tracks and wandering through the rail yard. In the second verse, we are introduced to this former psychic lady who lives in a park outside the city. And in the third verse, we're introduced to a man who is Jesus / looks like Jesus, eating mac and cheese at a diner and watching TV. There's no like story arc, it's really just giving us a glimpse into these people's lives, and the one thing that connects them all is that they're living 30 seconds at a time. And I think that's really beautiful. So Emmylou is another soft acoustic intimate song. The star instrument here is the piano, and the song is a love ballad, I guess, to a lost lover named Emmylou. It's a song about heartbreak and longing and missing her and not being able to move on. I think there's this really cool image in the second verse of her mockingbird tattoo that is haunting his dreams every night. Oh, what's this? Another song about a woman? Wow. It is such a contrast to Emmylou. Like when you're listening to the album, going from Emmylou to Susannah, it's like you're pretty much asleep and you're like, holy shit! Such an incredible contrast. Like within my energy chart, I think this is the greatest like leap you have to make. And maybe going from Imogene to All Dogs Go to Heaven as well. It's just like, whoa! What just happened? Especially with that piano, the thing where you like go down all the keys of the piano. I have no idea what that's called, and I should know this because I play piano, but I play classical piano and that's not a thing. Like Mozart didn't do that. So once again, it is high energy, loud, raucous. It's about a girl named Susannah, like I said. I don't know what she did, but I think she leaves him. She's the darling of a one-horse town, and it's just kind of a fun crying out to her. But this is the one song where I'm like, I could definitely see this being on Farmland. It is very soft and acoustic and contemplative, and it's about, yet again, a rambling man who goes out onto the road and finds himself in a small town in the middle of nowhere called Imogene. What's interesting is that in the song it says he's in Mississippi, but there's actually a town named Imogene in Iowa? There is a town named Imogene in Iowa. So, I don't know what's going on here, if this is based on a real place. However, that's not the point. It's a song of loneliness and desperation and hardship. There's an interesting transformation throughout the song where at first he's like, oh, if the folks back home ask about me, tell them I'm just working it out in Imogene. And by the end of the song, he goes, you can tell them that I ain't ever coming back to Imogene. I think this man went out in pursuit of a dream and realized that it's not gonna work out. And he's maybe going back home by the end of the song. I think the harmonica sounds really pretty. I love this song so much. I think it's so cool and so unique that it's told from the perspective of a dog. It goes through the dog's entire life. He or she is found in a cardboard box on the side of the road as a puppy and is taken home and chews up everything, and the chorus is so cute. It's like, you better believe I'm gonna go outside and roll down the windows and go for a ride. And by the second verse, the dog gets killed, sadly. It was the 4th of July, the dog hears some fireworks and runs out into the middle of the street, gets hit by a car. That's pretty sad, but the chorus is just so happy and so uplifting because it's like, it's gonna be okay because all dogs go to heaven. Once again, a huge contrast to the song that came before it. It's so loud and raucous and upbeat. I have a soft spot in my heart for dog perspectives. One of my favorite books in the world is called The Art of Racing in the Rain, and it's told from the perspective of a dog and goes through this dog's like entire life. And I recently was on a plane back from India and I watched the movie and I was literally crying the whole time. So our final song is called Blue Ridge Goodbye, and I feel like Gabe does a really good job of closing out the album with a goodbye song. He did that on Farmland with Happy Trails. So here is another goodbye song. It is a very slow, sad waltz about saying farewell. Once again, you get this theme of escapism where the narrator says, some days I just want to disappear, ride off in the saddle on a horse named See Ya Next Year, and kiss all my worries goodbye. There's this image of just pursuing a better life somewhere out there, somewhere beyond the Blue Ridge line. It's kind of like somewhere over the rainbow, which is very fitting because there happens to be a rainbow outside right now. Look at that. Look at the sky. It's so pretty. That's what the view outside my window looks like. Now you know. Anyways, yeah, this is a beautiful song. The pedal steel is probably the star instrument, and what I think is cool is you think the song ends and then it comes back for like a final instrumental, which is kind of cool. It's almost like you died and then you're waking up in heaven. That's how I see it. So, in conclusion, I freaking love this album and I highly recommend it. Please take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Beyond the Blue Ridge line.